Hello, all you beautiful and amazing people. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, I'm your host, Hyde, and this is Hide and Seek Media, where we talk about news, sports, politics, and so much more. In this episode, we're talking about Brian Laundrie again. This time, his skeletal remains have been found and identified by the FBI, and along with some other evidence. We're going to talk about what possibly could have happened to Brian, the autopsy results, the evidence they found, and how this affects Gabby Petito's case. See, what I've noticed in the mainstream media so far and in the court of public opinion is everybody seems to think Brian is guilty. I'm not one of those people. I can't say whether he is or isn't, but if I truly believe in innocent until proven guilty, there's no way that I can sit here and tell you that I 100% believe that Brian killed Gabby. Is it possible? Yes. But because there are a number of other possible scenarios that I could give you, I can't say definitely Brian is responsible. I also can't say definitely that because Brian was found dead, he was responsible. Public opinion and mainstream media seem to think that's the case. So we're going to get into all that, what they're reporting, and my opinion on how this affects the Gabby Petito case. So if you want to know all about that, make sure to stay tuned all the way to the end because I may have some interesting points that you may not have heard about or thought about in this case. But before we get to that, make sure to click the link down below and join my locals community. With your premium subscription of just $2.99 a month, you get access to all of my articles, videos, and content made exclusively for locals. If you're tired of big tech social media censoring you on all levels, tagging everything you post because you posted something about COVID or whatever, or banning you or shadow banning you, head over to locals and join my community today. And remember, you can always support the channel by clicking the merch link down below and picking you out a funny political t-shirt like this one, or maybe even this one. Now, let's get to the news. So, Fox News is reporting Brian Laundrie's lawyer says FBI has everything they need in Gabby Petito murder probe. Stephen Bertolino says to Fox News Digital on latest misconceptions in case that's captivated the nation. The attorney for the now deceased Brian Laundrie and his vilified parents said he has been told by the FBI that they believe they have everything they need with respect to the investigation into the murder of Gabby Petito. And that is the first time I have read in any of these articles where they call it murder. Up until now, I have read where they have called it homicide and that Brian Laundrie was just a person of interest. So this is going to be interesting to see where this goes. Sitting down with Fox News Digital at his New York office Friday, Stephen Bertolino addressed questions about whether Chris and Roberta Laundrie planned to cooperate in the investigation into the death of their son's late fiancée. After explaining what the FBI had told him, Bertolino added, "I was unaware of that as of yesterday. So, things change every day in this saga. And it is tragic, very sad," he continued. "So, ultimately, we'll see that through as it needs to be." The FBI declined to comment when Fox News Digital sought confirmation on this revelation. Bertolino contends his clients cooperated with investigators when it came to the search of their fugitive son, but the Laundries have otherwise stayed mum in relation to the Petito's homicide, for which the FBI has said their son was a person of interest. Okay, never a suspect, only a person of interest. Petito, 22, and Laundrie, 23, had embarked on a cross-country trip in mid-June with the plans to sightsee and visit national parks in a white Ford Transit. According to the law enforcement records, they got into a physical altercation during their stay in Moab, Utah on August 12th, which led to a police stop for a possible domestic violence case. Police closed out the call without filing any charges or issuing citations, but officers ordered Laundrie and Petito to spend the night apart. Officials are now investigating if the officers' handling of the case violated Utah law. Okay, so before I get any further, what Fox is neglecting to mention here is that the police officers deemed Gabby the aggressor in that domestic violence altercation. Okay, not Brian, Gabby. Okay, so if they had deemed Brian was the aggressor, I guarantee you he would have went to jail. But because it was Gabby and she was small and frail, and they'd probably seen this 100 times before, they decided to try to handle this a different way. Whether it was against Utah law or not is beside the point. Because to me, I thought these cops probably thought they were doing the right thing at the time. And had I encountered Brian and Gabby as a police officer in this situation, I probably would have done the same thing. It looked like two young people who were in love and had an argument that got a little heated. If you've been in a long-term relationship, you've probably had one of these yourself. So I don't fault the officers for allowing them to separate for the night, cool off, and then go about whatever they were going to do. So they go on to report on September 1st, months after the couple began their trip, Laundrie returned to Northport, Florida, home in the van, but without Petito. The young woman was not reported missing until 10 days later on September 11th, when her mother filed a police report in New York. Police seized the van from the Laundrie's home that same day. Petito's relatives said they repeatedly tried reaching Laundrie and his parents when they grew nervous about their daughter's well-being, but the messages went unanswered. On Friday, Bertolino said he spoke to Brian Laundrie on September 12th and 13th, the same day he is alleged to have disappeared after leaving for a hike in the nearby Makahatchee Creek Environmental Park. The attorney, who said he has known the Laundrie family for more than 20 years, said that during a previous television interview that Brian was grieving and was upset when he left for the hike that day. On Friday, he stepped away from that, saying he used the wrong term and could have used a better choice of words. I still stand by that Brian was upset. He was distressed. He was out of sorts, Bertolino told Fox News Digital. At the time, Chris said, I couldn't stop him. He was going. Brian was determined to go for a hike, and that seems to be something that we wished he didn't do. So it seems to me like if Brian is guilty, okay, because I can't say that he is, but if he is, it seems to me that he went home, he told his parents what happened, they got him a lawyer, tried to figure out what they were gonna do, and when they couldn't come up with a solid plan, maybe Brian decided the best thing for me to do is to just walk off into the woods and end it and hope the gators get me, right? I don't know. That's possible. Very possible. Let me know what you think. Did Brian kill himself? Do you think Brian killed himself? Or do you think maybe he was out there for a hike trying to clear his head, get his emotional state together, and figure out what his next play was? Let me know in the comments what you think, right? Here we have this story from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, right, where they discuss the autopsy results of Brian Laundrie. Right, so they report autopsy of Brian Laundrie, no cause, manner of death able to be determined. So the body was in such a decompositional state, right, that they pretty much discovered bones, as it is reported, and that now they can't determine how he died. Well, if he killed himself, more than likely he would have tried to shoot himself and there would have been a bullet hole. Okay. If he strangled himself or hung himself, there would have been, a broken hyoid bone, because that's how they knew that Gabby was strangled. So I don't know. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but I have another theory that we're going to get to here in a little bit. So make sure to stay tuned, right? Because this may be a theory that not many people are talking about. They go on to say, the attorney from Brian Laundrie's parents says an autopsy on their son's remains, which were described as bones by the Northport police, did not reveal a cause or manner of his death. Laundrie's autopsy was completed Friday, and his remains will be sent to an anthropologist for further examination, according to reporting from Fox 5's Judy Goldberg. The Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, said that they were hoping for more answers from law enforcement regarding the cause of death for Brian, who was a person of interest in the death of fiancée Gabby Petito while the couple was on a cross-country road trip. The manhunt for Brian ended Thursday when skeletal remains found the day before at Macahachie Creek Environmental Park in a previously underwater area were identified as belonging to Brian by the FBI using dental records. Laundrie was wanted on a federal warrant charged with intent to defraud for one or more unauthorized uses of Gabby's bank card between August 30th and September 1st, taking more than $1,000. Okay, so I'm going to pause right here because if you guys have been paying attention to the case, you would know that Gabby and Brian were sharing expenses through the entire trip and probably were sharing a bank account, which means he probably thought he was okay in using this card to get this money, in which he probably used, right, on his way home for gas, food, lodging, whatever. Officials did not initially call him a suspect in Gabby's homicide. A Wyoming coroner said she died by strangulation and her body was likely outside for up to 4 weeks, but no suspects have been named in her death. For weeks, Florida authorities scoured Carlton Reserve and neighboring Macahachie Creek Park, searching for any sign of Brian before scaling back those efforts nearly a week later. On Friday, September 17th, his parents said he was missing, telling Northport police they believed he would be in the preserve. At the time, they said he left the home on Tuesday, September 14th, sparking the search. Then, according to the family attorney, in early October, they said they believed he left one day earlier than they previously thought. With the community still having questions about what happened to Gabby and what, if anything, Brian's parents knew about what happened to their son, some have decided to protest outside the Laundrie's home, Northport home, in their quest for answers. The Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, says his clients have done nothing wrong in protesting this witch hunt. This mob-style crucifixion of Chris and Roberta is just wrong. Enough is enough, Bertolino said. If they haven't gone home already, they should go home. Bertolino says Chris Laundrie regrets letting his son go on that hike. He says the couple has done nothing wrong and they deserve privacy. So, I agree. The couple probably has done nothing wrong. I mean, they did let Brian leave to go on that hike knowing he was in a depressed state and, under a lot of stress. So, they had to have known in the back of their mind that there was a possibility Brian wasn't coming home from that hike. But they let him go anyways. And so that to me, either they didn't, the idea of Brian not coming home at all never crossed their mind because Brian was innocent and they were too busy trying to figure out how to prove that. Or it did cross their mind because he was guilty and they just wanted to let this scenario play out. Look, I don't know if Brian Laundrie actually killed Gabby or not. What I do know is that there was some evidence found next to his body that we still need to find out what it was, right? There was a notebook. We don't know what was in that notebook. Did he confess? Did he write down everything he knew about the death of Gabby Petito? I don't know. I don't know. We don't know yet. We haven't heard. We're waiting to find out. So until then, I have to stay on the side of innocent until proven guilty. If you think Brian is guilty and there's no doubt in your mind, right? There's no possible scenario that could play out that would convince you that Brian did not kill Gabby, leave a comment down below. Let me know, because I'm not of that mindset. I can come up with 3 different scenarios right off the top of my head now where Brian is innocent. And this just happened to be a tragic accident, because that's what I think happened. Okay. I think Brian went off into the woods hoping he could hide out for a while until he could get his bearings, figure out what he was going to do. Maybe he thought he was a better outdoorsman than he really was. I don't know. But to me, it seems like this was an accident. It seems like he might have gotten by a gator, not paying attention, tromping around through that, marshy lands in the middle of the dark. Probably got him snatched. I mean, gator probably got him as far as they found him underwater, skeletal remains, which means he'd probably been under there for a few weeks and been gnawed at, chewed on, right? Picked apart by fish and crocodiles and other things, right? So I will say that there is a possibility Brian is innocent and that he didn't kill Gabby and that this was all a tragic accident. I don't know for sure. I could be 100% wrong. I don't know. We don't have all the facts yet. I'm basing everything off of what facts we do have. So, and if you want to know my theory about Brian being innocent, make sure to check out this video right here, because in this video I tell you everything you need to know about how Brian could be innocent in the Gabby Petito homicide. But if you've made it all the way to the end of the video, I appreciate you guys watching, man. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. Make sure to leave that comment down below. Let me know what you think about this video and the topic. I really do love and engaging with my viewers, so feel free to fire away. Also, I'm trying to change the URL of my channel from these funky numbers and letters up here to my channel name. But the only way I can do that is if people like you hit that share button and share this video on all social media platforms. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.